Angry guy here, and black women are falling into depression and despair. Get this channel to 100,000 subscribers by subscribing to the channel if you already haven't, like the video, and turn on notifications to never miss another video ever again. Now let's begin. Black women are falling into depression and despair. Let's jump into the video.
Hey y'all, what's up? I know it's been a little while since I posted on my personal YouTube page, but I was thinking about something now that I'm kind of having a slow re-entry back into work and work weeks and all the things that were waiting for me to do when I left and chilled out for the holidays. So I've read this article about bed rot, right? Bed rot, R-O-T. And I thought it was an interesting article because it basically was saying that bed rot is when people, they get in bed, they rest, and they rest some more. And what I thought was really interesting about it was that usually when you talk about something rotting, that means it's not useful anymore, right? That it's bad. It probably should be thrown out. It's not good. And no. I think some of us need, first of all, we need to use a different word for it. But secondly, if we're going to stick with that word, let's embrace bed rot sometimes. Now, this is not to say to do this all the time, but again, going back to what I posted last week around resting until you feel like you can give your best self, if that means that you simply do not move, from your bed, from your couch, from your recliner, from wherever you are, your back patio, from a beach, wherever you may be, and you just sit still for a minute, how is that considered rotting? No, not a fan of that language. I think it's rejuvenation. I think it's gathering up strength. I think it's a lot of things, but I don't think it's bed rot, y'all. So I'm not okay with accepting bed rot. R-O-T? Nah.
So it's intriguing that she's saying this, that she's bringing this type of energy. But here's the funny thing about bed rotting. She says that, we should not use those terms for when people stay in bed and they are, they just need time to heal. They need time to rejuvenate. But the crazy thing about that is it's only acceptable when it's women who are doing it. I mean, keep in mind, it was Gen Z women that came up with the term bed rotting, where they basically just stay in bed doing literally nothing for extended periods of time. And it's unhealthy because it can put you into a state of deep depression, despair, loneliness, and it can become very, very difficult to get out of the bed once you've become acclimated to staying in the bed. Only when women do this do they say that we should not use those terms. But there are millions of men who are bed rotting right now. Millions of men have dropped out of the workforce, leaving the companies struggling to fill jobs. It's a matter of our national identity. And you ask yourself, what are these men doing? What are these men doing? Well, in 1953, 98% of men in the age group between 25 and 54 had a job or were looking for one. That number has fallen ever since. Today, 7.2 million men have essentially dropped out of the workforce, as in they are no longer working anymore. And it's costing a lot of money. Manufacturing jobs that are searching for these men, these guys will earn more than $30 an hour on average. They don't want these jobs. These men are literally saying you can keep your $30 an hour because these companies are making bank off these men for what? For what? Come on. Carla Trotman, CEO of Electrosoft, she said that she wishes that she had 45 people working for her instead of 30, but she can't find enough people to fill the roles. But wait a minute, what about all the strong, empowered women that should be lining up to fill all of these technical jobs in robotics? Because she's running a robotics company and she needs workers to do these jobs. So some of these jobs are not even physical jobs. They're just specialized positions where You need people with a group of specialized skill sets. So why aren't women lining up to do these robotic jobs, these jobs that require a massive skill of advanced skills? Where are the women? She said it's costing the company around $5 million in top line revenue, as she's been forced to down potential contracts. And listen to this. She suspects some people may be sitting out because of recent changes in how many of us look at work. I think it's fulfillment. I think it's culture. I think people really want to feel as though they're appreciated, she said. Well, here's the interesting thing. She used the word appreciated. Men no longer feel appreciated in Western society. They're not appreciated in the workforce. They're not appreciated by in society. They're not appreciated by women. They're not appreciated by the government. They are resented literally and just seen as a means to an end. So what are men doing? They're taking themselves out of society. They're walking away. They're doing exactly what women said to do, what the feminists said to do. Guys, go and take a vacation, go on break, let women run society. You've had hundreds of thousands of years to run the world. So let women step up now and have the power. So that's what guys are doing. Guys are walking away saying, okay, cool. We'll walk away. You can be the doctors, you can be the lawyers, you can be the engineers, you can be the firefighters, you can be the pilots, you can do all of these jobs. Oh, you can also do the dirty ones too, like working in the coal mines, the oil fields. You can also be the electrical engineers, and electricity is extremely treacherous. Like you need around 10 years, if I understand correctly, before they'll even allow you to call yourself a master. No, before you can legally be called a master electrician. I've had many friends over the years who they'll, because I used to live with, I used to know a lot of Mexicans, and if there's one thing Mexicans do, they can build houses. A lot of these guys have the skill sets to build houses, and they walk around like they're big and bad and tough. You know what they don't, but they'll always say, they'll always go, I can build an entire house, but I need someone to do the electrical wiring, and that's where they get scared. I had a friend who literally lost like 2 toes because of like an electrical issue. Like he was working somewhere and he ended up coming in touch with like a live line, and he ended up losing like 2 toes. 2 toes. Electricity, and it taught him a lesson, because this is the same dude that'll walk around saying that he could build a house. One of them, I know multiple. And then it taught him a lesson. He was like, I could build a house, but I need someone to do the electrical wiring. Like it humbled him. It humbled him. A lot of these guys can do electrical wiring themselves as well. It's not as complicated as you think, but it is very serious. You can do simple wiring, and I know these guys can wire a house, but if you don't know what you're doing when it comes to electrical wiring, that's the end of it. That is the end of it. There are so many issues in homes. A lot of the times when you find, certain places ablaze, it's because of poor electrical wiring. It's because of some mistake that happened there. Some contractor who did something that they shouldn't have done. They always go back to the wiring, to the electricity, and they'll go, who did the wiring? Who did the electricity in this house? Because that's how serious it is. So, women are basically like, oh, I'm big, I'm bad, I could do bad all on my own. But these men have basically called their bluff. They've walked away from Western society. They've said, enough is enough. We're not going to play this game anymore. We're not going to be taken advantage of anymore. We're not going to have you using us and laughing at us and saying that, oh, we're this, we're that, we're problematic. Okay, if we're problematic, then you don't need us. We're going to move. We're going to take off. Hope you guys are enjoying the footage. It comes from Jump, from one of the Jump games in the Shonen series. So I hope you enjoy that. Guys, modern women brought this onto themselves. They said, we don't need no man. I mean, this lady, I don't know anything about her, but the very notion that she's saying, I'm going to stay in bed and just do nothing like that. Well, for you to be able to stay in bed and do nothing, then you probably don't have anyone you have to take care of. Because if you have children that you have to feed, then you have to get out of bed at any given moment. You don't have time to bed rot. You have to take care of your kids. You have to take care of your family. You have to take care of your home. And, a lot of these modern day women, they take it for granted because they think they can keep on living this life forever, and they really can't, because the moment that they hit, a lot of these girls, the moment they hit 40, they're done. They're like, I can't do this anymore. Many of them are burning out in their 20s. Many women today are burning out in their 20s, like, because they're doing these jobs and they're like, oh my gosh, I cannot work 52 hours a week. I cannot work 60 hours a week. I don't know how the men do it. They're built for it. They're men, so that's why they're capable of doing it. But I can't do it. I'm not gonna. I just cannot do it. I want to make the same amount of money as they do, but I'm not gonna work these hours. And it's theft because you have a lot of women now in the medical field. Women make up the majority of all doctors in the United States and in England, in the United Kingdom. And here's the crazy thing: they're not working the same hours as the men, but they're receiving the exact same pay as the men. And I don't know how this is possible. I do not know how this is possible or how it's actually legal, you know. And there's no, of course, the feminists don't complain about this because when it benefits them, it's okay. But how are you going to have women working 40 hours a week and some dudes are out here putting in more than 60 hours, more than 65 hours a week, and we call that equality. Oh, it's not equality, it's equity. Equity is another form of equality. Men are just better suited to work longer hours than women, but we should receive the same pay because we're doing the same work. That doesn't make it, guys, this is girl math. We should receive the same pay because we're doing the same work, even if we don't work the same number of hours. That is so unfair. Like, that's how girl math is. And you're like, but that's not equal. I'm working more hours than you are. So you should have to. So, how can we receive the same pay? Because we're doing the same kind of work. So it doesn't matter if you work even a single hour and I work 60 hours, you should receive the same pay. Absolutely. Because that doesn't mean that my work is any less valuable than yours. Okay, so let's say we turned it the other way around and you were required to work 60 hours a week and all I had to do was work 1 hour a day, and we would get the same pay. And their result would say that's not equal. Why is it not equal? Because men are better equipped to work those long hours than women. Guys, that's girl math for you. Help get this channel to 100,000 subscribers by subscribing to the channel if you already haven't. Like the video and turn on notifications to never miss another video ever again. Black women are falling into despair and depression. I want to know your thoughts regarding all of this in the comments, so let's talk about it there. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA and walking away. And cheers.